healthcare sector in India is paving its way to become the largest growing sector owing to its strengthening coverage, services, and increasing expenditure by public as well as private players. In order to bridge the gap for unequal access, poor quality, and rising costs for the patients across the country, Legal League Consulting organized the Healthcare Summit and Excellence Awards 2017.
We'd like to have the Group CFO Kalpana Umakant to please come forward.
Conclave witnessed industry leaders and stalwarts from the medical legal fraternity.
The healthcare sector has been observing an environment of significant development and transition. The Indian healthcare market, which is currently expected to be worth $100 billion, is expected to grow to $280 billion by 2020 at about 16%. At about 16% per annum. The sheer size of the industry and its effect on allied sectors like pharmaceuticals, medical equipment and devices, clinical research, medical tourism, medical insurance, medical e-commerce, healthcare, IT, and software made it our next choice for the theme of this summit. Like any other sector of that magnanimity, there are dynamic issues being witnessed by it and which require to be deliberated upon. For instance, the generic versus brand name issue, which has been a topic of debate for long.
In my perspective, pharma and devices is quite overregulated. Hospitals and diagnostics is extremely underregulated. So we actually have very different challenges for even parts of the same industry. I think it's a great market to be in, a great sector to be in, and a great country to be in at this point of time. I think healthcare in India has a great 20-year boom ahead of us. There's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of growth coming our way, but with significant challenges. And there's no, that's not a surprise why all of us get extremely high valuations in the healthcare industry. Because the barriers to entry are challenging, and there are lots of limitations and things that need to be managed and tackled, right?
There is failing standards amongst the pharmaceutical healthcare industry. US FDA standards are not being complied with, and that, along with the number of shops that have opened selling pharmaceutical products at huge discounts on the internet, and quality concerns are a very, very major issue which needs to be addressed. The second important element that emerged for the future was collaborations. Everybody pointed out to successful research and collaborative efforts on vaccines by the Serum Institute in Pune, and of course a lot of other companies which are successfully involved in breakthrough molecules. R&D in neglected diseases, and public-private partnerships. So collaborations was a big thing which was flagged for the future.
Today, when we talk of medical devices and new breakthroughs, people are committing the moon and not sure that exists. Second, we're in a country like India where we haven't, even in the healthcare domain or in the medical devices domain, correct me Vivek if I'm wrong, we haven't produced a single product. Almost every product that we use in the healthcare value chain has been produced outside India. Invented outside India. We may have done a cost engineering on it, and we may produce it in a cost-efficient way.
Elaborating on the present healthcare in India and with the need to bridge the gap between public and private sectors, notable speakers from the medical fraternity and the legal segment voiced their views.
Issues that are real and on the ground. First, we have a government policy which sets out some very ambitious requirements in the next few years. Complete elimination of certain diseases, of course, huge issue on costs. And with that, the center of all this is IPR. And how do you deal with this constant pull of innovation and the cost of innovation with the affordability of pharma?
Development of a drug and the intense investment that goes into that. And then where does that company recover the money from and is going to, and I'm sure Kaizad will talk about it. But I'd rather focus for the smaller devices, the improvements, the young innovators who can today make stuff to be sold to the large pharma companies. That protection itself is huge. And I know the generic versus patent debate has been going on for years and will keep going on as to is it an economic benefit that's more important or is people's health more important?
The government has recently introduced the Drug Price Control Order and the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority to deal with the issue of affordability and availability of medicines.
As you rightly said,
However, despite some advances, India's healthcare sector has to deal with many challenges. Key speakers took up these issues and examined the policies and their effectiveness in making safe and effective drugs more accessible for the patients.
So what the companies they need to look into is that as far as cartels are concerned, there is no concerted practice within the market, within the players. They are not indulging into an anti-competitive conduct of discussing prices, raising prices, or are creating an artificial scarcity. So what are the issues that the Commission generally looks into is that where there is a Section 3 violation, which is a cartel, there have been instances where the Commission has, and there is no direct evidence for such agreements. The companies, they get into an agreement that, okay, now we will raise the price of the product, but there's no written agreement with respect to that.
The more patented products fear the generics market, this widely, we actually get a delayed availability of some of these really good medicines that are out there, and that is in turn actually increases our healthcare cost. So what you can work with a superior product that's available in the West is delayed because of the innovators' apprehension of coming into a generics market. This hurts us far more than what is widely known.
The medical instruments market in India was valued at $3.5 billion in 2015 and could soar to approximately $4.8 billion by 2019. Considering huge opportunities present in the sector and the upcoming Medical Devices Rules 2017, the prominent speakers delved deep into these new rules and deliberated on the nuances, possible impact, and opportunities.
All arms of this healthcare, whether it is formulation market, whether it is API, whether it is medical tourism, whether it is medical diagnostic, devices, all are growing by leaps and bounds more than 12 to 13%, despite the fact that regulation has been quite stringent, the pricing controls have been never before, and it continues to grow all arms. Particularly in case of devices, it's likely to touch around $5 billion, maybe in the span of around 2019-20, and the formulation will go to around 18 to 20 billion US dollar market. Let me try to take you through the research report. One is the Global Innovation Index. In fact, the topic also has been medical device industry with reference to innovation, domestic and challenges. Now, if you look at this Global Innovation Index, the government of India has formed a task force to understand where does India lie on this innovation, what measures could be taken to develop such ecosystem whereby the local manufacturers will stand to gain. All of us will be happy to know that in case of Global Innovation Index, which is published by Cornell University, along with INSEAD and WIPO, that is, the World Intellectual Property Organization, ranked India somewhere 81 in 2015. It came to 66th position in 2016, and now in June, when the report was out, we happen to be on 60th rank, improved rank by 6, and the Modi government would like to further improvise.
The digitization megatrend is affecting every sector and is an integral part of any industry. Can digitization act as an instrument in solving problems faced by the healthcare sector? The health tech companies have taken up initiatives in solving the issue of unequal distribution of medicines, poor quality, and rising costs. In order to tackle the challenges and to create bundled service offerings, eminent guests exchanged their views on how to ensure key partnerships with device manufacturers for the smooth execution. The healthcare sector in India has been attracting investments from across the globe. To create an environment for attracting investment and identification, the experts analyze the investment curve for stakeholders.
It's a great idea, great initiative taken by Leak Consulting. It helps the industry, all the stakeholders in the industry to share ideas and for the betterment of the industry as well as the government, the people, the consumer. and especially in the healthcare sector.
So this summit is very important. For the first time, an attempt has been made to bring all these segments which play a very important role in healthcare together, and what are the legal issues which arise, you see, so far as these segments of healthcare are concerned.
It is these kind of summits which lay the foundation of ideas which will help change the way people are looking at industry, the pharma industry in this case, but other industries.